What's happening, Knight fans? Welcome back to Holding Court with Todd Dagenais for part 2 of our postseason special. Along with the coach, I'm Jeff Sharon. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening with UCF volleyball going forward as we head into 2012, and also some of the good things that are going to be happening as we get ready for what will be the year after, a 20-win season, first one in quite a while for UCF. And Coach, we thought that would be good enough to have a darn good shot at the NCAA tournament as we talk about how the selection process worked out. A lot of controversy this year with the NCAA tournament selection committee. Give me your thoughts on it overall in terms of how the tournament field actually shook out.
Yeah, disappointment, frustration. There's a lot of that going on across the country right now. I've talked to several colleagues who are affected by it, and I don't know. I think we have a system right now, and for better or for worse, it is what it is. And there's a selection committee who's in charge of seeding 16 teams into the tournament and then deciding which 33 get in as at-larges. Yeah. And right now, I feel like the only thing that they're given is an RPI. And the RPI can be cheated, it can be fooled, it can be manipulated. There's so many things that can happen to that RPI, but that's really the only tool that they have. And so we get on the selection committee about, well, you didn't seed it right, or the right teams aren't in the tournament. But right now, that's the only parameter that they have. And that's what needs to change. We really need to give this committee a better tool, because volleyball doesn't get the eye test like men's and women's basketball get. Yeah. There's so many games on TV, and these administrators and conference people that are on the selection committees watch a lot of basketball. They don't watch a lot of volleyball. I'd be willing to bet you there was more than half the people in that room that haven't seen 10 or 15 volleyball matches, and probably less than half of that, that didn't involve their own teams. Mm-hmm. And so we have people that are taking a very limited scope of information and making some really important decisions. Again, not their fault, but it's just the parameters that they're given. We really need to have computer rankings. We need somebody to come up with an algorithm, like a Sagarin type thing, to assist. Because right now, an RPI simply is based on who you play. That's it.
Do you hear that, UCF Computer Science Department? You guys better figure that out.
And I'm going to give you an example. We were taking a look at the RPI. There was 2 teams. One was number 112 and one was number 113.
Yeah.
We figured out the math that if we played number 112, we would drop 8 spots in the RPI. We played number 113, we would move up 10 spots in the RPI.
Wow. Because
of their record. Number 112 was 16 and 14. Mm-hmm. Number 13 was 19 and 12. Yeah. It's simply based on the opponent's record. And right now, there's conferences that have figured out and placed the mandate that you have to follow this RPI formula. Those conferences are the Missouri Valley. Mm-hmm. They've done a great job, and they're getting multiple teams in the tournament. The MAC adopted it this year, and they got four teams into the NCAA tournament. Now, we can't fault the MAC for doing that. Great job on their part, but they've shown the faulty part of the RPI system. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 choices at UCF now. We can either whine and complain about it, or we can figure out how everybody's doing it and be part of the group. Until RPI isn't the single most selective tool that they use, you're going to have to learn how to manipulate the RPI if you really want a chance at the end. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, it really wasn't so much who we lost to. It was some of the teams that we played and beat. We're responsible for scheduling our non-conference. So we have more control over that. And we're just going to we're not going to be able to schedule a single team that's going to be under 500 non-conference. That's got to stop. We're not going to be able to do that anymore. Yeah. In our conference, we're held hostage.
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing we can do. And you just hope that everybody gets their record up close to that 500 mark, so when you play them and beat them or lose to them, you don't go backwards too much. We figure there was 4 or 5 matches that cost us almost 35 spots in the RPI, whether we won or lost. Yeah. That's a tough thing. And for us to finish with an RPI of somewhere around 75, 30 spots.
Yeah, that's a huge
45
difference.
And 45 is in. 48 was the cutoff this year. So what do? All we can do right now is we play our conference schedule as is. We hope that everybody adopts a scheduling philosophy where if you're at the bottom, which is where we were, mm-hmm. we find a way to get to 500. That's what we did last year. We found a way to get to 16 and 16 last year, so we didn't hurt anybody that had a chance to get into the tournament. If you're in the middle, you try to get to that 20-win mark. And if you're at the top, now you have to go out and you have to beat Texas, you have to beat LSU, you have to beat Kentucky, you have to beat Tennessee, you have to beat somebody to pad your NCAA tournament resume.
And you have to hope that they allow you to schedule them too.
Sure, exactly. That's a challenge. So, I mean, we've already had teams drop us off the schedule for next year because of they know we're bringing everybody back.
Yeah.
We had that win over Southern Cal, and they said, we really can't play you next year. Well, seriously? How are we supposed to improve our RPI non-conference if we can't get some of those to play us? And Wichita State has that issue every year because they're the proverbial giant buster every year.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time playing teams. So we have to go down with to study the RPI. We have to figure out what the true difference is between 75 and 48. Mm-hmm. And it's not what you think it is. It's not beating teams. It's who you play. It doesn't even matter if you win or lose. It's who you play. We're going to have to figure out a way to get back up there where we want to be next year. Because otherwise, you're really putting it on winning the conference tournament. We're going to have a tournament next year.
Yeah.
I mean, one ankle sprain. We showed that this year. That's a 4 or 5 game before you can get back to normal again. One issue or one team gets hot, and I don't want to put it all in one weekend where we hope everything goes right. You got to have some leeway, and so it's going to have to come down to non-conference scheduling, and we're going to have to be creative about how we do it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and next year it does complicate things with the fact that you do have to go to the conference tournament. So, but overall, when you look back at that, like we said, you still achieved a lot of the goals that you set forth for at the beginning of the year. 20-11 overall record, 4th place just like you wanted, just 1 game out of 2nd. And like we said before in part 1, you're bringing back 8 of your 9 key people. Now we're also going to see some other faces jump up and contribute a little bit more next year. So who are you looking to see more of in 2012 for UCF volleyball?
Well, there's been 3 people patiently waiting on the bench cheering for the rest of their teammates. And the very first one is Marie Richarova. The competition between her and Rachel at the beginning of the year in the setting position was very tight. I mean, there was some days where Rachel was better and some days where Marie, but it was tight. Mm. And I at the beginning of the season, I sat down with Marie and said, all right, you can battle all year and hope you get some play time, or you can redshirt this year and really put yourself in the best position. And after a long decision, she said, you know what? I'll redshirt this year. We'll only play if Rachel gets hurt, and thankfully she didn't. Yeah. And so now Marie has the time, had the ability to learn the opponent's offense, figure out how to manipulate opponent's offense and defense, see how our team reacts to different systems. And
it's like she became a coach.
Exactly. She did on the other side and got a chance to develop her leadership and really play an important role for us. Yeah. So, we're going to miss Rachel. There's no doubt about it. Just like we said we were going to miss Fisher. But that allowed Jelly an opportunity to step in and be the Terminator. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to miss Rachel, but this allows Marie to step in. And I think that she's got a huge future ahead of us, and we don't have to take a step backwards at all. I think that's a positive thing. The other one that we've had on the bench is Lauren Corey. Lauren came in a little bit later and missed a lot of the preseason. We needed to get her a little bit more strong. We put her through a position change, took her out of the middle. Probably going to put her at either the left side or the right side. Let her train all year. And there was times when we had the injuries with it. We were this close to writing her number in on the lineup, and we just decided to bite our tongue and just hold her out. So she has 3 additional years, and at 6'5", she's going to be a blocking. That's something that we haven't been real good at. We haven't been great at blocking. She's going to be an instant blocking impact for us because she has great feet, she has great platform, and she has a great knack for blocking. So we can't wait to get her on the floor and turn her loose somehow. Of course, Kaylee's Green, you talk about somebody that's just been chomping at the bit. Yeah. The only thing that's kept her off the floor is her experience. And she got a lot of experience on the B side this year. More days than not, she tore it up. And right now, it's a matter of her learning blocking systems, blocking schemes, and just understanding the collegiate game. But it's going to be difficult to keep somebody like her off the floor because of her. I mean, she jump touches 10-4, 10-5. Yeah. Just a fantastic athletic body, fast twitch, always up in the air. Everything that you want in a middle hitter. She just doesn't have the game experience, the practice experience like she got this year. So that's going to be the final tool for her. Coming in, we've got a fantastic setter coming in out of Austin, Texas, who, again, I expect is going to push Marie every day, could possibly beat her out, could possibly run a 6'2". There's a lot of things that we may do. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for right now, we've got the 3 on the bench. We've got the one that's already signed that we can talk about. We got a couple others that we can't talk about still. But we're going to be solid in our ball control. We're going to be solid in our defense. We're going to be solid in our passing. We're going to bring back all of our hitters, and we got a very capable setter of stepping back in. Right now, I'm going to vote us no worse than second next year. I can say that right now. And Tulsa has earned the right to be called number 1. They bring almost everybody back next year. I'm going to vote them number 1. I'm voting us number 2. I'm going to say it right now. And again, I'm not going to apologize for it. And we're just trying to close the gap on those guys.
And now as we head towards the spring now, what does your schedule look like? What does the coaching staff schedule look like now? With I know that you guys like to head on out to do some sand volleyball tournaments as well. So give me just a quick cliff notes of what goes on as you get ready, as we head from now after Thanksgiving through spring break and heading into like April and May.
School starts January 9th. January 10th we'll start player meetings. January 12th we'll have a team meeting. January 19th we'll start individual work. So it's going to be 1 player, 1 coach, 1 court, 40 minutes. And it's just going to be all individual lessons for a good 2 weeks. Then we'll begin some small group training probably the end of January, where we'll take 1 middle, 1 setter, 1 outside, 1 libero, and we'll work on some more game type stuff, how they all have to depend on each other to do their job. Probably about the 17th or 18th of February, we'll start our team training for 6 weeks, and that's practice just like we do in the fall. Probably going to be more of an emphasis on the weight training and conditioning throughout this entire cycle, because I think that's something where we need to get better at. We need to get more explosive. We need to get more agile. We need to get quicker. We're pretty powerful and we're pretty strong, but we need to be more explosive. So we're going to work on that the entire spring, and everything will wrap up probably about April 14th next year. We're going to give them spring break off. That's a positive.
They can wait for me for a little while.
Right. The last couple weeks of that, that April 7th, April 14th are likely to be outdoor tournaments, just because it's something that they really enjoy doing. It's something we're pretty good at. We're still a school that's exploring someday having a varsity sand program. And I think we've shown the last couple years in a row by winning the tournament that we're at least one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Southeast.
Yeah.
So that's something that we want to probably try to build on this year. Probably we're going to do one additional indoor event where we bring somebody in, play them 3 games in the morning, eat lunch, watch film, come back and play 3 more games in the afternoon. We're trying to work on a couple big names to do that. But that's going to be our spring. It's really going to be going back to basics, individual teaching, small group teaching, and then back to team practice again to get ourselves ready for next year.
And then it's summertime, and then just like that, the 2012 season is upon us. Yeah. So, it'll be fun. Well, I hope that we'll get the chance to talk again during the spring after all that stuff, kind of shakes out. Maybe around the sand volleyball tournament. But once again, Coach, congratulations on your first 20-win season here at UCF and finishing 4th in the conference and giving us a lot of great memories here at UCF to this point. And here's to several more coming down in 2012.
And thanks to you for doing this all year long. I don't think anybody realizes that you do this on your own. This is not something that you necessarily get paid for. He really does it for the love of the game and love of this team, and really appreciate that. And behind the camera, Eric DeSalvo, who has really taken our coaches show to a whole different level right now for our fans. And so thanks to both of you guys for everything that you've done for our program and really getting the message out to the people that are out there. So
and we appreciate you, because it's been a lot of fun.
Good, thank
and
you.
We appreciate you, the fans, for tuning in. Of course, as always, we thank you for hanging out with us every week here on Holding Court. And like we said, we'll be back with you again a couple times during the spring for little checkups here and there on UCF volleyball. And so for one final time, for Eric DeSalvo behind the camera and Coach Todd Dagenais, my name is Jeff Sharon. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you again in the spring. Have a wonderful holiday season, and go Knights!